Hello and welcome. This is a continuation of our network series, and in this video I'm going to show you how to recover Cisco router password. So I have a console cable connected to my Cisco router, and I have PuTTY here, but I don't know the COM port. So what I need to do is to check the start, go to the start button, device manager, and then from the ports you have to check which port, because sometimes it picks a random number. So here it's showing 4. I'm going to use that. So serial, and I'm going to change that to 4. And if I say open, so this window now appears. If I hit enter, then I have a password there, which I don't know. So what I'm going to do is power cycle the router, and then we will break the boot, and it goes to ROM. Then from there, we have an empty configuration. That's the running configuration. There's no configuration in there. There are two types of configurations. One is the running config, which is the changes you are doing at the console before they are saved. And when you save, they go to the non-volatile or the startup config. In the startup config, now it's what we cannot access. There's a password. And that password we need to see and change it. So what we're going to do is go to the ROM. When the machine boots, you break, then it takes you to the ROM. Copy whatever is in the startup config to the running config. Now that running config contains what was in the startup config. We see the password and change it, and then we save the running config back to the startup config. That way we change the password. Just one warning. When you go to the ROM, please be careful to say WR or write mem. What you are doing at that stage is the ROM or the running config is empty. If you save the running config, then it copies an empty configuration to your startup config, which is your current working environment, and it destroys the whole config or it overwrites. So just be careful with that. The process is copy from the startup config to the running config, change the password, then now save back to the startup config by doing the normal way of the WR, which is copy running to the startup config. And that's what we're going to do. So the machine is now on, and I'm going to power cycle it. The first few seconds we need to break the password, break the boot. And I will go and prepare my cell phone here and special command break. So I will power it on, then click on break, and then you have to do it multiple times until you see actually the ROM. Otherwise it skips, and then you won't be able to break. So let's do a few times until it goes into the ROM. It looks like it passed. It didn't go to the break. So if that situation happens, stop and then wait again, restart. Be quick with this break command. So the machine now is in the ROM, and what we need to do here, we need to change the configuration register. So we write the command confreg, and then we change 0x2142. That's where we needed to boot from, and that's a temporary one. Now the next thing to do is to reset and recycle them. It tells you actually you must reset or power cycle. So what we need to do is reset. When we do that, then it takes us to the login page where we can have the initial configuration or the empty configuration. So we wait for a few seconds. Okay, we proceed to skip the initial configuration, and now it takes us to the enable mode. So this router, if you see there's no name, if you go to the enable and then say show configuration or show running config, if you say just show run, then you see there is no router name, there are no users, there are no interface configurations, everything is empty. So what you need to be very careful with if you use the command WR or write to mem, that's going to be dangerous, because this empty configuration will be copied to your the startup config, and that will destroy all the config. Just be careful with that. Here what we need to do is the opposite. Copy startup config, and then we're copying whatever is in the configuration and to the running configuration. Now that tells us you want to keep the same name. We say yes, and then whatever is in the NVR is now copied. So you see the command, the name of the machine now changed to the original one, and we now have the configuration. So if we say show running config, you see these configurations. We have secret password, enable secret password. We have some DHCP settings, some pools, interface configurations, all this would have been gone if you overwrite it. We have NAT and we have other configurations, a console password. So what I'm going to do, I will change conft. I will change the enable secret over here. I'm going to change that enable secret. I don't know the password is encrypted. So what I want to do is I will overwrite. So enable secret, and then I will write something, I know, a basic one. Let's just say this is a lab Cisco, but of course you have to configure your strong passwords. Then when we do that, the next thing to do is the console password. So if I go to line console 0, I will do the password, and then also this one the same thing, and then we say login, and then we exit. Also the VTY line, we do the same, and then we provide a password, and then we do the login, and then enable we have, console we have, there are no users, the rest is all good. So I will end, and then now this change, whatever is in the running config, if we say WR, will be saved back to the startup config, which is what we want because we know this password now. So if I say show run, then that secret password is something we created now compared to LP, sorry, and P20. If you compare to the previous one, you would see it's different. So now we know that password and the configuration didn't change. So if I save and say copy, run, this is now okay to do it. It's startup config, and then if you save, that's all good. So what we need to do, we have to change the configuration register. We have changed the configuration register to 2142. If we say show version, you can see the conf register is actually changed here. This is not the original, the default one. We need to put it back. So to do that, in the normal configuration, we go to config T, and then we say config dash register, and then we say 0x2102. When you do that, then you exit and then save. And all you have to do after that, because we made a change, I need to save that change. I need to save it. So what I need to do is copy running config to startup config. Now that's all good. When it saves, we have to power cycle the machine and reload it. So here's the command. We confirm that reload takes on. Then the machine will take us to the command line again, so that we can log in and exit the random or the ROM1, I mean. So we wait for a few seconds until the boot completes. Okay, so if we log in now, it asks the password, which is what we configured. So if I log in, now I'm in the configuration, enable, it also has a password which we created, and that's it. So we have password recovered. The switch is a little bit different. In another video, I will show you how to do that as well. Thank you for your time, and see you in another video.